Hello, this is Alex with the Matrix program. Thanks everyone for viewing the information. Again, I'm a retired commodity broker. This is my old office, and I appreciate everyone visiting. Give me a thumbs up, it helps the algorithms, and we'll see you on the flip side. Okay, in this section, we're going to do the master chart calculator on SLV. Let me get it in frame here a little bit. This is the historical data from the SLV chart. Let me get it here so you kind of get the picture. Yeah, this is the data from the chart from the beginning. So it's a comprehensive view of it. There'll be a lot of dates associated. Let me clear that back out. So I'm going to plug these dates into the master chart squaring calculator. Again, the square of 9, right? Excuse me. This is your price in the middle going around and around. These are the even squares. These are the odd squares. Again, no matter what you put in the center cell. And it can also do time, right? The date that we'll be plugging in. You can go around and around. Now, a lot of times back in the day, you had to calculate that manually, which really sucked, by the way, especially if you're dealing with a lot of history. Of course, this isn't too old. SLV started trading in 2006, right? So it's not terrible data. But you can see we got quite a list. I tried to pull all the major swings. Again, this is going to be a pretty long video and review because I'm doing it for myself because I never trade SLV. I always traded the futures, the silver futures. And then when I retired as a commodity broker, I switched and kind of more interested in the SLV when I sold my business. So again, because I don't want to trade, as a retired old guy, I don't want to have a whole lot of extra risk. So the stocks kind of keep me a little more level. Anyway, we're going to review these. I'm going to plug these in just like this. I made it. This is what I call the cheat sheet, right? I'm just going to copy and then paste them in here. And 1290 is in the center cell now. Let me go to the price. This is 1290 in the center. Goes around, around, around. Again, even squares on this angle, odd squares on this angle, and all the corresponding angles, 45s, 8s, and whatnot that are coming off that center cell. Anyway, I'm going to try to speed through this, so I'll probably do a few and then pause it. And you can see this is the data that we're doing, and it goes out quite a ways. So we'll kind of get there. Now the parameters I'm going to put in are 2025 January, right? It should keep it this parameter. Now you can switch it to 2024 or 2026, right? But try to keep it 6 years because the advanced sort has 6 years in it, right? And we're not going to probably do the doubler today, which is again another part of the program. Again, you put something in the center cell and it doubles, right? So if it's, well, let me just do 3. You do 3, it goes 3, 6, 9, all the way out, right? And the 3, 6, 9, and it doubles all the way out. It's great for cycle work, astrological work, that kind of thing. And cycle work in particular. Again, I'm a date trader. I'm an acceleration guy. I'm looking for places to use options if I can. And that's the nice thing about SLV. There's definitely options involved. So anyway, again, first thing you do is reset this, right? Put in the data. There it is. Now, if it doesn't, again, I usually try to go from the oldest to the newest and that kind of thing. So now, once we have it, you plug it in. Pretty freaking simple. You go to the next one. It's just a simple spreadsheet, but it's sure handy. I use it a lot. And I'm going to go through here and plug all these in. You can see it saves it here. It also saves it a few other places. As a computer guy, I've lost a lot of data in my lifetime for not saving it, or fell asleep at the keyboard. Anyway, I'm going to go finish this up, and I'll be back with you. Okay, again, I listed all those. Now, what I do, I don't take all the subsquares. I take them from like here. I don't know exactly where. Maybe even this one, 5.5. Again, that's revolutions, right? Anyway, so a lot of these last few dates only have a few data points because they're not. These don't make sense, right? When you look at time, here, there's the last one I inputted. Well, you go around and around, and these angles are too fast. The squares, right? This is the even squares, and this is the odd squares, right? All the way down, just like you would if you had 1 or 0 in the center cell, right? It's the same principle. So anyway, I don't take all of them. So the last data is more for an annual, which we'll kind of review in another section here. Okay, so we're not doing the input 2, so we got all the data input. Now let's do the run advanced sort. Now this is the button here. Now if you had the MC2 and you wanted to merge it with your MC1, where the square 9 data, you'd click it here and this would slide over. I'm not going to do any of those because again we're going to have a crap ton of data. We'll see if my program can go out this far. It's been a while since I did one this big. Haven't tested it. Now again, 2025 makes sense because a lot of the dates, right, or 2025, end of 2025, there's quite a few swings obviously in 2026, all-time highs or whatever. So those aren't going to be registered here. Now what you do see is, get it down to the bottom, holy crap buckets. Again, 26 has a few less, right? It makes sense because we had data in 2026 all-time highs on that date as well, and probably 5 or 6 swings. So this will be your main gist here. 2027, 2028 won't have as many just because it's going to have less and less and less all the way down. Still quite a few. Let me double check. I want to make sure that we have all the way out to December. Yeah. Okay. Because I'm doing this for real for me, so I'm double checking everything because I want this data to be accurate best I can. You can see there's a lot less in 2029. Again, mainly because the data only copies this right here, right? So you have less and less as you go out into the future. Okay, so these are the dates. So I am now going to plot them on a chart the best I can. I am probably going to take accumulation dates only and any singles, or I'll mark any voids. Again, because voids are important, right? Again, I'm looking for accumulation, obviously. Like here we have 3 on the 2nd, 1 on the 3rd, and I took everything from Saturday, Sunday, and I usually put it on Friday. So that's kind of how I do it. And we'll put it on the chart somehow, way, shape, or form, and we'll take a look at it probably just through January of this year, 2026. So hang with me once again. Hello traders, this is Alex with the Matrix program. We're going to do a deep dive on SLV. I've never traded it. I was a silver guy. I'm a futures ex-broker. And I've never traded SLV. I always traded the futures. Of course, margins weren't 60 grand. But anyway, SLV is a good way. It's a big implement. I learned a lot doing this dive. I did a kind of AI informational part, which will be part 1. And then there will be a part 2, which is over the master chart square 9 calculator. Again, a deep dive into all the swings since the creation and the birth of the contract. Typical thing what I do, right, when I go through a market that I haven't traded before. And then I'll do the chart process on what I call the master chart, right? It's just using the moons for time and the square 9 for price. And we'll review that as well in a section. So there's kind of like 3 parts to it. Now there'll be a comprehensive one as well, but I thought I'd give you an informational part if you catch one of these in between so you kind of understand. Anyway, enjoy. Hope you're successful in your trading. Okay, I plotted these. The dates, I kind of took like 4 swings or 4 data points. So there wasn't too many voids. I marked a few. I might go back and look for a few, but I took ones that had an accumulation of at least 4 dates. So I plotted them on the chart, and we're going to go through them. There was a few voids, a few dates that weren't on there. Pretty interesting, actually. I've never done this before, so again, I'm doing this for my own this is how I prep to trade a market. So I go through this process pretty relentlessly. All right, so this is our first of the year. Our first zone was right in here. Now, obviously, since we know the future here, we can take off this, and I don't consider these arrows as trying to pick highs or lows. It's kind of like a pressure, following a weather line, a pressure line on weather. Greens are arrows that are up or pushing it higher, right? And the red ones will be pushing it potentially down. And it's all about the potential, looking at the potential, similar to understanding electricity, right? It's all about the pressure. Or a river flowing downstream, and there's calmer areas, but the water is still flowing, right? Because it's either wider or less steep. So anyway, this is kind of how I look at it. Now, again, as we go through here, these are obviously all-time moves, so every day is important. And there was quite a stretch where we didn't have 4. Now, there was obviously a lot with 2s and 3s. And this was the all-time high day. Now, we had a couple zones in there, but it didn't meet our criteria for. Again, I'm not trying to be real precise here, but I'm just trying to show you how I view it. Okay, so we came upon this event. Well, we know it had the all-time high dropped damn near 50%, not quite. So a pretty heavy smash. So your antenna's on high alert that this is over, right? I mean, I don't care what you believe. I don't care what the internet is telling you. Uh, that's an over move, right? It dwarfed everything else. When this reversal happened and this follow through, now it sucked. You had to wait down to probably somewhere in here to understand that, uh-oh, something's wrong. But you trade it accordingly, right? So here's our next zone that had at least four in the same zone. So we don't know. Now, of course, once it broke down here, I believe we can take this off. Now your stops, with this massive a move, you probably have to trade a 5-minute chart, right? Because again, you're leaving, there's percentage moves here. So, all right, here's our next zone. And at this point, we probably don't know yet. But, you get a couple closes above it. We can probably do some assumptions, right? Well, here is a close. And of course, everybody's bullish because they've made a wad in here and probably took a bath here. But, they remember the good, never remember the bad. And again, most people are long only, they buy only. So, well, obviously, if you did sell it, obviously the stops go here since we confirmed it with this and a lower low. Right now, if you were long and for some reason you didn't get out, it's tough to bail there. If you didn't have a stop in, I'm sorry. Again, any method requires risk, but not that much risk. Put a stop in, damn it. Okay, so we're moving up. Again, we're looking for zones of 4. Well, you can see, and I also marked these gray double arrows. That is the annual, right? This all-time high I marked continuously, and I do on my charts. I have it on a Google map. Well, let me just. I'm getting off track here. Hang on. Well, I'm definitely off the rails. Let me go. Here's my Google Maps, and I keep track of stock market, the 6-pack of cryptos I keep watch of, ex-dividend dates, that kind of thing, on the 20 select stocks that I trade, that the Matrix trades, and solar eclipse, lunar eclipse stuff. Anyway, you can see here in August, I keep track. These are all the gray ones are all annuals on the 20 select stocks that I trade, right? So I keep track of them all. You can see I got here. Meta has some pretty big one that came in on the 14th. Um, so anyway, I keep track of annuals pretty religiously, just so you know. No idea what that was. Okay, so we have an annual coming up. This is the big dog, right? All-time high. Can't beat that. So what are you going to do, right? If you pick her and you picked it down here, are you going to assume that it's going to gap and go? Now, most people were so bullish they couldn't see straight, right? They were talking $400 and weird shit like that because they want to believe it could be some massive move. And it could be, right? I'm not trying to downplay that, but I mean, this was the power play. What's it going to do? Be even more? I mean, a little realistic view. So anyway, and plus we had another zone in here with at least 4. So we had some pretty powerful deals to warn you, right? This was the annual. This was the next day. Now we can't take any of these arrows off yet until we kind of can see. All right, we now show the market broke. The potential high is pretty real, and I believe we can take these off. Again, and this fell on the weekend, right? This was the 29th, was the high, January 29th. So it could have been Friday or Monday, right? So actually we could slide it up here. I always do it on Friday. Okay. And we have a void. Well, we didn't have void, but we didn't have 4. The next zone at least had 4. Some of them had 5 or 6, right? 7. I think one had 8. But anyway, you had this break, and we did pop new lows. You can't really confirm anything yet. The pressure is starting to build. We don't know which direction yet until it follows through. Okay, now we know that it broke down into a zone, so we can comfortably take that off. Now you can feel the pressure ridge forming, right? And probably could draw a line over that. Now, again, we kind of went down by the close. We had a reversal, so I can't pull this off yet comfortably, right? Because I'm not comfortable confirming that this is a low or a high. Now we have a next zone, and it's inside. I'm still uncomfortable. We have another zone and an annual. So that's the 29th, right? So a potential, it has pressure building on both sides, but the weather line is right here, right? And the bad weather is in front of it, and the nice clear weather is behind it. Windy, crappy is, the terrible storm that's pushing right down. So, and there's another front trying to push it up. Which one will be stronger? Well, we did pop it higher, and with a zone coming up, so I am comfortable. I am actually gonna do. We're gonna leave that one for now. We're going to get rid of the All right, so it's pushed higher. We have a zone coming up, and this one is quite unconfirmed yet. Now it did go lower, and it did now it's slightly higher. So still unknown. Now we can probably comfortably eliminate these. Uh-oh, where was that one? Oh, the 29th. That was on the, again, a weekend. Again, you can see that this had more strength. Of course, the public was foamy. Okay, good. It's got to go up. It's got to go to 200. All right, so we poked to high here on the 14th, 17th of April. Now, another annual that I should have mentioned, obviously, is that April 7th, right? That goofy one that came in 2025. It occurred in cryptos, occurred in the metals, occurred in the stock market, commodities that made a low April 7th. So that one's always on my mind, and I would have, in my knowing what I know, I would have definitely been watching this area potentially for something because of that annual. Anyway, again, we made a high. There was plenty of zones in here. Let me see. April 17th. Actually, we had, yeah, one on the 16th, one on the 17th, and then actually a little void into the 21st, excuse me. So, again, I call the voids a Scud missile, right? Or you blow up a balloon and let it go. The air swishes and the balloon travels any which direction, but with velocity. That's the tendency of voids. Now, there's not enough to really pinpoint, a market right now since we had quite a few zones. Anyway, again, I'm just proving this to you. I mean, I don't do this myself, right? I don't sit there and draw these in as like this as much because I can see them. I'm more of a integrated deal. Okay, we got an annual coming up. Oh, this one's on the 29th right here. This is the 29th annual. We have a zone coming up here. I'm thinking we're comfortable putting that in. The pressure ridge, again, the overall one, which we know is down. And this one tried, right? The bulls tried. It's still trying. We got the annual coming in. Hopefully everybody trades that and understands the annual. And it popped higher. So I'm comfortable now getting rid of these. And the bulls have saved the day. We're pushing higher right now. Again, it's still a pretty large percentage, right? But from this move, it's just hard to see. Okay, if I get too big, the arrows get so massive. I was trying to get that old high out of there. It's kind of skewing the chart a little bit. Okay, so here's our annual, and this is our zone. We are comfortable pushing that up since it took that area out, right? Not just because it was up, but it also took that area out. And then we have another zone coming up. It's an inside event. Again, accumulation of at least 4. May 7th, and this is May 8th. So we are unknown at that point. That popped higher, took out everything. So again, I'm comfortable. Now the pressure is really applied. The bears have lost control, right? And it's obvious, right? I don't know I don't have the volume on, but I guarantee it was big. This is a big day, important day, right? Downtrend line was violated. This previous swing was violated from this low, right? This is a confirmed swing low right here, right? Because of this push up this day. Now again, pop the stop. So you understand where the stops are. This is where the swing stops were from this low. If you had sold it in here and you didn't get stopped out, now more than likely you're say, well, we better put stops in. They put stops here. Well, they took that out. Again, the market's mission is to always run stops. That's all it's bred for. It's designed for. As long as you understand that, right? Okay. Well, we had a next zone coming in, and it kind of petered out, which was a warning sign, right? This move, cleaning out everything and then running the stops, kind of similar to here, right? I mean, just doing some simple chart work from this low to this low. And from, again, it's similar in speed, similar, definitely in time, 9 days, from low to high. So your warning bells obviously were pretty pumped up here. If you're a bear in particular, you were waiting for some type of trap area where people are getting stopped out. Now, most people are bullish, right? But so now, of course, you can do that on the way down. This swing here could be replicated. This swing could be replicated, and that gives you a guide of where to trade it and look for a bottom if you're a picker in particular, where you want to get out. Okay, so we got this little zone, and we have our annual coming up. This market knocked out everything, and the fear of this being some type of a major cycle event is now confirmed, in my opinion. And the annual's the key ingredient now, which this is the 29th, so it's the actual date. Doesn't fall on a weekend. So I'm not comfortable doing anything yet with that arrow. until it makes a net. See there, it made a new low. Everybody was confirmed that, uh-oh, I'm in something I should have been out of. Okay, so we're in the month of June, right? We're getting, this is currently, today is August 18th on a Tuesday. Today's about, kind of broke this video up a little bit because I had to do some errands, but 2026, so we'll get live here shortly. And you can see the market just gave up, right? Once people, probably a lot of people bought this. It's hard to buy strength after a monster bull. I used to buy more strength, and I've become more of a wuss. I tend to buy, try to buy breaks. I mean, there's everything has its season. Definitely buying strength is okay when you're in a dead market and looking for a, a rounding bottom or something. Other than that, it's pretty tough to buy strength in this. Well, it's a percentage game, right? I mean, you buy it up here where you're risking down here. Well, Jesus, you know, at 100 shares, that's almost 20 grand. I mean, come on. It's all about the risk reward. If it doesn't meet your risk reward, wait for a break. Now, again, trading these zones helps, right? Because you kind of know where maybe if we have an accumulation, you can maybe look at it. Now, we've got quite a few dates coming up, as you can see. The market rallied, gapped up, and then had some really weird small ranges. So again, I can't confirm anything. And we have another one. So we had big days. You know, you look at the chart, the Excel spreadsheet, master chart, scoring a 9 calculator, and it was chock full. So a lot of stuff. These are all these 4 or more. So pretty big deal. This breaking down, making a new low. I think we're comfortable taking these off now, and it makes the pressure ridge pretty obvious. We had another zone coming up here. Had a smasher day. And the 29th is coming up, right? This is 24th. This is the 25th. So we know the annular is coming in, which is important to me. Big, you know, obviously I'm putting it on the chart for a reason. And now I can't really take anything off yet, but we understand the pressure ridge is down. The buyers do have some power, but it's muted to probably 6 days, 7 days, we'll call it. And this is quite a, I mean, if you're picking a bottom, this would be one I would be picking, right? Because I know probably where the risk goes, and we know that every time it pops these out, there's power behind this, right? This isn't a fluke. This isn't just one day. These are 4 days at least. So you're talking 12, 16 zones coming in at minimum with the annual. So it could be more, right? Okay, it's creeping higher. I am gonna probably assume that this market is just a Peter Piper picked a pickle peppers. You know, it's just a dud, because that is unusual, right? I don't think that's indicative of a bottom. This is how it should trade in this heavy market zone, right? These spiky bottoms. Again, Newton's law comes into play. For every action is equal but opposite reaction. We had a spike high, we had a spike low. That makes sense. We had a spike high, we had a spike low. It makes sense, right? Now, we can see for every action is equal but opposite reaction. We're starting to turn into a softer market. Everybody's getting tired, heavy. They're sick of it. They're pissed off because, oh, it shouldn't be down here. It should be at 200. Just how it is. It's the mentality of the market. I can't take any of these out, though, until we make a new low. We kind of proven the swing range, right? Well, I took it out, so I am comfortable getting rid of all this stuff. The bears still won out. It's just a dud. Man, again, what I call the money swing. Let me see if I can pull it up. Of course I can't. I can't pull up the volume once I took it off. I had the volume on there and I took it off. But I guarantee you that, you know, the volume on these 2 days right here, or actually 3, I call it the money bar. It's actually the money swing, probably with 3 days in event. Guarantee you this was a high volume stress area, right? So logically, even the risk is, if you're trading it risk wise, the stops are up here. And if you're a bear, you understand if you're wanting to sell more, this is where the stops are going to get hit, right? Because this is where a big volume was occurred, or here, right? Because again, the gap down occurred. No one could trade that. So somewhere in here is where the stops are, and until we take this out, you can't prove anything. And you can see heavy zones in here, right? These are 4 minimum. So again, just like here, we're getting a lot of data, and the market don't know what to do with it either, right? Now here's our next annual. Again, pretty key. You know, again, pressure. I can't really give you any clue. I assume if we take this out or take this out, that's where then you start taking off the arrows. Okay, we proved then that, dang it, just quite ain't enough, right? Okay, now we can start taking we kind of understand the pressure is up. The bears are now under stress. And again, the annual was kind of the right shoulder of this head and shouldery kind of bottom. I'm going to leave those on for now. And we know then, right, that's like I said, if you're a bear, you'd have been trying to sell it up here if you wanted to add to your position. Or let's say you got out and you're looking at a place to sell it, because we know that this is where the stops are going to be. And the market knows that. And we are current. So I really can't do anything with this. Pretty interesting area. Again, this whole 3-day period is really the stress test for the market. And I look forward to seeing what that does. Um, Now, we can say one thing for sure. The arrows, you can feel the pressure, right, has changed. And there's a lot of data, man. You're talking a lot of swings. I'm taking a 4 minimum. I'm looking through here real quick to see how many some of them these were. Oh, I don't see anything more than 4. August, let's go to August. Yeah, it looks like 4 kind of caps it. Now, again, I take everything that goes on the weekend into Friday. So some of these have a Friday squished in. So some of them, again, when I first was doing this, I thought, well, I got to change that. But that makes more sense. The weekends tend to gap. If you do have gaps, they usually occur on the weekend. So, okay, so that's where we're at currently on the deal. We are at an unknown area right here, but the trend, short-term trend is up. Obviously, the long-term trend is down. But there's a lot of dates in here. Now, again, some other things that obviously you can keep in track of as we took out this major trend and a non kind of the squaring of that range, not mathematical by any stretch, because I'm just going from, again, pointing it out. That's September 1. Of course, we have a holiday in there, so pretty key area on its own merits. So yeah, I'm kind of excited about this. Again, I'm never traded SLV. I'm looking for those areas where I can maybe do some options. Again, maybe pick a little bit. Again, if I pick, I use options only. It's 100 shares, right? So it gives me some power. I can't really do anything here. I like buying puts personally on these kind of markets because the public is the public, right? Public is always a buyer. They're never a seller. The professionals that wait in the weeds, the thief in the night, the stalker, the wolf, right? The predator, right? The predators are always in the weeds waiting for that moment where they can pounce. This next annual will be pretty key. Let me see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This was 6 months, right? This one was pretty key. This was a key one, and it was definitely the right shoulder, and again caused probably this pressure to change a little bit. Now I'd trade more data dates, right, than price. So again, for you traders, GAN folk in particular that like to trade price structure, that'll be pretty interesting down in here as well. I won't get into that, but something you can look into. Okay, I am going to sign off. Let me before I do, let me see when the next accumulation is. I'll just pull it over so you can see. Let me blow it up. We got 3 here, 3 here, 2 Friday, one on the weekend, nothing there, no 4 ones that I was looking at. We have a holiday in there. Let me see. Labor Day, I'm assuming, is the 7th. So again, everything will be pushed back, and that's a big one. The 7th Friday, that's a 5er. So again, we're added to the 4th actually. So this is how many will be coming in on the Friday. Obvious, holidays are there for a reason. Here's another one on the 9th. So actually we have 4 on the 9th. We have 4 on the 10th, right? So again, these huge zones are big time pressure. I'm looking out into the future. I don't see as much. There's Tuesday's a big deal on the 22nd, 25th. Well, this weekend will be big, right? Because again, we have all that zones coming up. And I'm just glancing out, see if anything catches my eye. Kind of gets less and less as we go out. I'm just looking. Here's one Wednesday. So the pressure, really kind of is at the Labor Day weekend-ish to middle of September, and then it kind of slows down and then out to November, right? We have quite a few with zones out there. Again, you can print this out, pause it, write them down, whatever you want, or buy the program. You can click this link. I do sell these. This is the square of the range calculator, which I have a few videos on. This is the master chart, the one I just did, and this is the online lessons, now called the master manual, if you are interested. Okay, that's it. I've kind of drugged it out a little longer than I wanted to, but it's pretty key, right? SLV. I don't.